We're live. Novak News, episode 767. It's a 6-month rewind. I'm here with Jessica Patterson. Stay tuned, guys. Hello. Jessica Patterson in the house.
Nathan ARAYA. Exciting. Good. How you going?
It's been a long Monday. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
This was a long Monday. We just did an incredible hour of power with the crew upstairs.
You might have talked to us on the phone.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
We probably interrupted your dinner.
Sorry.
That's what you do when you work in sales, trying to get those appraisals. But Here we are this evening, guys. An incredible 2022. It's probably been the fastest year, personally, I've ever felt.
Yep.
Probably the same to you, Jess. We're going to be doing a 6-month rewind, deep diving into some interesting facts and seeing how it's all gone about. And there goes our lovely boss. Good night, Mark Novak.
Good night, Mark Novak. So we're going to do a quick little catch up, go month by month of some of the things that happened in Australia, in the world, and then how it relates to property since the start of the year, because we're already halfway, well, almost halfway, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's incredible how quickly it's flown though. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
This is life. I think this is life working in real estate though. 1 week, blink of an eye, except for tonight, except for Mondays. Monday's usually the longest day of the week, but this is what we do. So, all right, I'm going to let you spit it out like a rapper.
Sure.
What kind of went down in January 2022?
So January, it's kind of hard to believe, but we were still in the peak of COVID. We were still having lockdowns. We were still worried about cases. People were still, the laws were still around having to stay home if you're a close contact. So at that point, 300 million people had COVID worldwide, and we were up to 10 billion people that were vaccinated. So we're like on the brink. How this related to property?
God, interestingly enough, look, still in January, as far as the commercial real estate perspective goes, because that's the avenue that I work in, there was still a high demand, a lot of hot buys. I'd say the leasing side of things was still definitely on a downward spiral, but you still had a lot of buyers that are interested in, snagging themselves up a bargain and, utilizing those assets that could definitely weather the storm, especially COVID. I got to say, I'm pretty grateful I haven't copped COVID.
I have twice.
You have twice. Yeah. Mine is 0. It's an incredible thing that, people could even get it twice. But, as far as property is concerned, and, it's definitely, there was still a lot of interest out there, but it was, very strategic based purchase or marketing anyway. But the leasing side, definitely commercial. There wasn't a lot of people interested in getting into very deep, very committed leasing agreements. If there was people dabbling in the 3 to 6 month realm, testing the waters. A lot of the time people were still working from home in this case, starting small businesses, exploring different avenues, and that's kind of where it went from there on this end.
Kind of interesting. A lot of people, I know we talked about it last time we did this, but a lot of people, because they were stuck at home, picked up new talents and hobbies, and the new businesses came out of that, which is very interesting. Residential side.
Yeah, go resi.
We were still so busy, and people were getting absolutely cracker prices. That's come off a little bit now. We're saying it's gone from nuts to normal, but January, February, up until about March was when we were still seeing crazy prices and everything insane. Separate to property, a couple of things that happened in January. We had Ash Barty win. I don't really follow sport. What did she win? Tennis. She won single titles, the first Aussie to do so since 1978.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But then, you had such an incredible highlight, though. Was it Novak Djokovic?
Yeah, he got in trouble in January, which divided everyone.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I find it interesting how people, when it's a celebrity, sometimes we treat them with a different lens. Yeah. Interesting.
Definitely.
All right.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Feb. let's have a quick gaze at Feb, shall we? Anti-vax protests in Canberra and Sydney. Again, here we go. We're dabbling in the whole anti-vax side of things. Celebrities not wanting to get vaxxed in particular. This was definitely a big stir in February. That's no doubt. And then looking across, flood crisis begins.
Crazy times. And I think when it first started, so I was actually in Brisbane when it first started, and I thought, oh, it'll just be a week in Brisbane, get back to Sydney, and then Sydney's the same. This obviously affected property management. It affected sales because some properties, had to put on hold their sales campaign if there was damage, or they couldn't have, people couldn't get to the property because of flooding. A lot of things going on.
Yeah, that was definitely very, very interesting time, and it's not like it was just a week, 2 weeks. There was a substantial period beyond a month. Torrential rains, some pretty scary stuff, not your usual. And then knowing that you're walking down the street and you've actually seen, for example, I know there was across the road from us, Osprey building, the roof just completely flew off, and even in other parts of DY as well. And seeing and knowing of stuff like that is definitely a big eye opener, game changer for a lot of people. Definitely putting a lot of potential purchases on hold. A lot of properties coming to the market on hold as well.
I think it has lasting effects too. Like, for example, so in Gympie, which is in Queensland, it's like inland from Ipswich, they had floodwaters that got to 22.8 meters, I think. And now one of the issues is there's a lot of property that was destroyed. Because the property was destroyed, no one can afford to have it rebuilt. So there's a lot of tenants without homes, which means the landlords are upping the rents. So there's a lot of people in really tricky situations where there's not that many places they can rent out, and the ones that they can are super expensive.
Yeah, unbloody believable.
Yeah.
March 2022. What went down? What went down in March?
Russia invaded the Ukraine.
Ooh, this was big.
What I think, though, this is obviously a horrible event that happened, and there's a lot of human lives that are people that are really suffering and still suffering. But one of the things that I think when this first happened, that people's minds didn't jump to, Russia is a major exporter for the world, and it affects everything. So prices of food around the world have gone up. The prices of resources have gone up. Construction has gone up.
Was huge.
Yeah.
Definitely. So
Fuel.
Oh, don't even get me started. No, even till now, it still hurts. It's definitely like a domino effect, really, when something like this happens in the world. Again, it's one of those things where it tends to unite people, but at the same time, it's a ripple effect amongst all avenues of our lives. And yeah, it's not the best, not the greatest. What else happened in March per se? North Korea tests intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's a bit of a mouthful. That was a bit of an interesting one there.
I feel like we skimmed, like the world skimmed over that too, because everyone was looking at what was going on in Russia, that North Korea decided that was a good time.
Hey, this is scary though. COVID-19 death tolls exceeded about 6 million. Now, when we were off air, you remember when it hit the 1 million mark.
Yeah.
And then for us to be discussing 6 million, it's unbloody believable. Like what this had done to our lives, what's done to so many people's lives. And it's just the push that here we are in the property market and seeing the incredible shifts when all these sorts of things are going on. It's definitely eye-opening.
Yeah.
Goodness me, March.
For sure. One of the things that in March that happened as well that I think was interesting with any holiday, this comes up in December as well, around Christmas time. A lot of people usually go, oh, it's Easter, because it was Easter, Ramadan, Orthodox, Easter, everything was in March this year. And a lot of people think that a lot of people will wait till after that period is over to purchase. I didn't see that.
No.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of waiting around. There may have been the people sitting there in the wings, but there was not a lot of people putting a full stop on absolutely everything. Even during those public holidays, those busy peak periods, buyers were still out there.
Yeah.
Even on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when someone like Billy in our office stepped in and thought to take advantage and take people through on a Sunday, and that's definitely been really advantageous.
Yeah.
Seeing incredible results in that avenue there. April 2022. Let's do it. What happened in April?
Interesting.
Go.
Elon Musk bought Twitter. Super interesting, I think.
Social media platform at $44 billion.
Another, like Instagram I would get, but Twitter, you know what I think it is? I
What?
think in Australia, we use very different social media to other countries. Like, yeah, my friends from overseas, I tell them that we use Facebook still. Like my friends in America, I say we'll use Facebook, and they're like, what? That's for old people. You don't use it, but we use it all the time.
100%.
So I think Twitter has kind of a similar like idea. In Australia, we don't really use it, but in America, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I think now as well, something like LinkedIn, we probably didn't use as much as before, but that's an application now that seems to be pretty prominent, especially in industries like ours where, it's a lot of different people linking together. It's more of that professional front. I feel like people like to explore.
Yeah.
But tell me, all jokes aside, if you had that sort of money, what are you buying? If you're not buying a social media platform, what are you buying?
We were talking about this a little bit before. I'd buy a zoo.
Are you buying a zoo?
And Nathan would buy
Island.
an island.
I don't even care what size it is. I just want to have an island, just why not?
Yeah.
So moving on with April. Okay, UN votes to suspend Russia from the Human Rights Council. This was leading on from what happened in March.
This is a big deal.
Big deal. Like we're not. These aren't little topics in April, for example. Global food prices increased to their highest level since the UN's food price index began in 1990.
So this is mostly because of Russian exports. They're a massive exporter of wheat. And now that that's not happening because of sanctions and different things, the prices are going through the roof, which is also, you can see in the US, their inflation rate is bonkers. And there's a big gap between us and the US. We're pegged against the US. So that means ours will likely go up, hence the fuel prices increasing. And with the lack of exports from Russia, a massive source of everything that we need, everything's likely to just...
Slowly but surely.
Yep.
Slowly but surely. It's unbelievable. Yep. May 2022.
It's been a big month.
May was a big month.
Yeah.
May was a very, very big month in a lot of avenues, a lot of areas. I think what was May like for you? As far as being in the real estate world now, coming in strong, how did it treat you?
So I found it interesting because, again, it was an election month. A lot of people in the months going up to the election were going, I'm going to wait for the election. Everyone goes, why? There's not really much reason to wait. But I think the election triggered a lot of people that were waiting to also come to market as a buyer or seller. So we've been busy.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I feel like it was one of those months where it really tested you as a sales agent, for example, because you're obviously going to get a lot of negative stigma from something like the election going on and a lot of people wanting to put off their potential purchase or the potential sale of their property. And this is where you really had to kind of pull the tools out of your bag and really make it work for you. And I think you definitely did an incredible job. I know in commercial, for example, we were still able to bring on some incredible properties, still really bend the bar as far as lease is concerned. Start of the year, we weren't the strongest. And then all of a sudden it's like properties were being leased left, right and center.
Yeah,
a lot of people much more confident now as far as where they want to go, what they want to do. And that's always good to explore,
In a bit of a lighter thing for that month. I'm not sure if you saw, but Speedos, Budgie Smugglers.
Oh, Budgie Smugglers.
They had the most interesting guerrilla marketing campaign. They piggybacked on the election and they had this campaign where it was in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, but you had to go, also the day of election day was freezing cold. Oof. And you had to go to vote in your Budgie Smugglers. And if you got a photo, you got a voucher for buying them. It was such a good idea. And all these people that I saw someone at my election booth in Budgie Smugglers and we were like, what is going on? But it was the smartest idea. I really like the guerrilla marketing.
Yeah. We've done some guerrilla marketing before though. Like that, this is like going on, the opposite end of what we're talking about Budgie Smuggler wise. We had these incredible pink balls at one stage and, stress balls. And we were chucking them at people's utes all over Brookie and Peterway, Chroma, for storage units that we had for lease. I mean, sometimes you just got to really think outside the box.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the last interesting things I think that happened in May, did we take a photo of a black hole?
A black hole.
Well, we didn't.
No.
But someone definitely did.
Yeah.
Sagittarius A, black hole in the center of the Milky Way. Is this what we're taking photos of? This
I
month?
didn't even know that they could, because I know a few years ago they couldn't. So this must be a new thing.
It's got to be a new thing. There's a lot of new. It was probably Elon Musk did it.
I know.
$44 billion later, taking photos of black holes. But my goodness me, now that we're in June 2022, you know, it's the year that keeps on giving in the quickest way possible. You know, I mean, what can you forecast for the next?
I was about to ask you, what do you think's
what
ahead?
I think? God,
What do you think's ahead?
sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. I think it's just not going to stop. I really feel that there's going to be an incredible influx of properties coming to the market in this month. You know, we're still early days, but I think it's going to be going strong. I think a lot of people, now that the election's over, really want to test the market, see what they can do. And if that's the way that it's always been, and that's the way it is going to be now, then hey, beautiful, bring it on.
Do you know what I think's coming?
Right.
With borders open in Feb, we forgot to mention that.
Ooh,
but yeah. I think now that there's more of an influx, more travel, I think it's going to be crazy times here. I think people are going to come from different buyers from overseas, different tenants from overseas. I think we're going to have we've had a little dip. I think it's going to.
We've probably made the most of buyers from here in Australia alone. And I think now, you know, it's going to be all those parties that have been waiting in the wings from overseas, looking to make their mark and in the Australian market. But with tourism at a high now, again, you know, it'd be great to actually go on a holiday, low key, go on booked. But we'll see how it goes. Jess, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
as always, Monday Novak News. Here we are ranting about all sorts that have happened in the past 6 months of 2022. We're looking for an incredible next 6 months ahead, and I'm sure we'll make it incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
So thanks for those who joined, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.